Hello, welcome to Deepdale and a special FA Cup video verdict, which usually would of course be the only video verdict of the season because Norwich generally go out in the third round, but not so this time. They picked up a 4-2 win here at Preston. Norwich made 8 changes today here, but actually 3 of those changes were still players who played against Tottenham. So, and everyone, I think, apart from Adam Idah, had made a Premier League start this season. So, fair play to Daniel Farke because it was certainly a strong Norwich side that played today, and they played like it generally. I thought Preston were pretty awful in the first half, to be honest, although they were good in spells, which Alec Neil just mentioned there. Lovely to hear from the former City boss today. By the way. It's interesting hearing from him again because I think you can see why he's so well liked still, I think, by Norwich fans. Of course, by what he created at Norwich, but also just how he is. I think it was something he never really struggled for, and in fairness, the job he's doing with Preston is quite impressive, and they had a fair few young players out today. So, all being said, they kept in the game really well here. It finished 4-2 to Norwich, and they kept going. They had young players, and they learned as the game wore on, but of course the dynamic of the game changes when you score goals, which Norwich did. I would say that defensively they struggled. They gave away shots and chances. Michael McGovern made a few good saves, but some of the times they were being parried into the dangerous areas and he needed his defenders to clear them. Sometimes in front of the back four, Norwich were a little bit open, which is probably to be expected given Tom Trybull still hasn't played a lot of football, and Maurice Leitner has played even less. And I thought he ticked over quite nicely. I thought he looked rusty, probably in his energy levels, which again is to be expected just through match fitness, but he actually used the ball in general really well. And it's interesting watching Norwich play against a side that are playing in the Championship, having watched them for 6 months in the Premier League, because you can see, like Todd Cantwell did nothing wrong today, but you could see how he was given less room to kind of do the things he wanted to do, which is interesting and explains why we didn't see him much in the Championship last season, and also then how he's flourishing in the Premier League, where the quickness of the moves when they happen and the space they get plays into his hands, and today it was a little bit more difficult for him, which you wouldn't necessarily expect. By the same token, Marco Stiepermann played how he does in the Championship, or how he did in the Championship the season before. He looked confident, used the ball well when he got it, and had the forward runners and had the time to pick the passes and broke up play quite well. It was the sort of Marco Stiepermann we're used to in that regard. So a really, really interesting game and performance for where Norwich are, and we'll see on Monday evening who Norwich draw, of course, in the 4th round, which is, I think, one of the weeks towards the end of January that those play out. I think it might be around the 25th, 26th weekend of January. So it'll be interesting to see who Norwich get. I think this is the first time they've gone beyond the 3rd round in 7 years. So by law of averages, they were due one of these. But of course, today really has to be all thoughts have to be with Adam Idah, or as I now have to call him, Idah. It is Adam Idah, that's how you pronounce his name. And he was excellent for what is his full FA Cup debut. He's made one start for Norwich, which is, of course, at Crawley, where he didn't do badly per se, but he looked like an academy player that had been given a start, or an under-23 player who looked raw and had been given a start. He made some good runs, got in some good spaces, but ultimately struggled to impact the ball, keep the ball to link with his teammates. And then I think there was 1 or 2 chances where he just didn't really take them. This was very different, and it is going to be a different performance when after 2 minutes you score. But it was a wonderful ball from Stiepermann, and Idah there goes the light. Idah slipped in and took it really well first time, but the weight of the pass was ideal, and it was a great opportunity for him to then take, and he took it really well. The second goal actually came from Anel Hernandez, but then Idah's second, Norwich's third, open goal from 35 yards effectively. It's a remarkable finish, which you only score when it's your day, and the fact that he then went and dispatched a penalty later on, or just in the second half, in fact, Norwich's first penalty in some time, took with superb confidence, kind of said it all really. And given Dennis Shrabin is currently sidelined, so is Josip Drumic, neither have done in a competitive game what Adam Idah has done today. The only other person is, of course, Teemu Pukki, who scored a hat-trick against Newcastle and is, Norwich's number one striker. But you would have to say, with the dynamic now, even if Teemu isn't fit for Old Trafford, or is could be risked against Man United at Old Trafford next Saturday, do you start him or do you give him another game, given you've then got Bournemouth at Carrow the next? Adam Idah will be on such a high after this, and I think his performance and also the way he linked play, his work rate, the way he went about his performance, all aspects of it were grown up, mature, and really effective. And it was a huge step forward from what we saw at Crawley. So a brilliant day for him, headlined of course by his goals, but for me it was the other stuff that was just as impressive, and clearly the confidence from a goal after 85 seconds helps with that hugely. But this is quite clearly Adam Idah's day. He's created history for Norwich City today by the youngest senior hat-trick scorer. He's still only 18. I think his 19th birthday is in February. It feels like he's already been around for ages, but safe to say that he's not going anywhere, and that's probably going to include on loan. Of course, it depends how things develop over the course of January from here on in, but it's fair to say that, and I think Daniel's words didn't say it, but Daniel Farke's eyes said it, he won't be going out on loan this month, which, there are a lot of teams who would have liked him, and probably Preston would have joined the list off the back of it. So we will see. It's a long month, but what a remarkable thing to happen, and a genuine highlight of this season for Norwich City. How big a highlight, how big it turns into for them as we go on, we'll have to wait and see, but certainly an enjoyable thing to experience and to watch him do. Just my final point though, just been up there speaking to, or listening to Alec Neil's press conference. He was obviously speaking to all of us, but he complained because two of the goals were probably offside, and I certainly thought that as Idah broke through for the penalty in the second half, that looked offside. The linesman went to put his flag up and didn't, and of course Premier League officials today used to having VAR, so it's interesting, but literally after 6 months of everyone complaining about VAR, we just had Alec Neil complaining that there wasn't VAR to register a couple of probable offsides from when he watched them back. So I think that does really state it all, doesn't it? Damned if you do, damned if you don't. Adam Idah clutching the match ball, by the way, getting a bit of stick from Grant Hanley behind him, telling people to take the match ball off him because he's not taking it with him. There's about 14 journalists, I think, having a scrum or in the huddle around him to listen to him. I think everyone officially knows who Adam Idah is now, although I keep getting his name wrong. It's going to take me a bit of a while to get it right, but there we go. Adam Idah, it's his day. It's Norwich City's day. They're into the fourth round of the FA Cup. Happy days. I'll see you on the other side. If you're watching on YouTube, Instagram, or my Facebook page, thank you, first of all. Leave a comment. I'll have a read of them. I read them all. Make sure you follow the pages or subscribe, whichever is the method of choice. And I will see you at Old Trafford next weekend. Until then, have a good one.